a fairly low-tier team and well below expectations for CLG.
Yep.
A win here could definitely do a lot to kind of boost their confidence.
We'll see how picks and bans goes. Mid lane has seen the Fiora, the Aurelion Soul from Huhi, and they've also seen that Aurelion Soul ban. Maybe they're trying to pick a few more out of their opponents. Liquid says we're having none of that. Gangplank Skarner to start things off. And Chronologic Gaming has started their ban phase with the Azir Ornn, which targeted Impact, and the Tristana.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to take that Tristana away from Doublelift. He's so comfortable on it. It's strong in the lane, allows him to have a lot of sieging potential, and it's a late game hyper carry. So it really does give a tremendous amount of flexibility, but this means Zoe will be left up. Likely going to be the Galio to match if it does get locked in. Not expecting it to go to the top lane. So a pretty quick pick there for TL, and kind of looking over to their side. You know, this is a team that a week ago was 5-1. They had their biggest weekend of the year by far last weekend, where they were going up against the two teams that they were tied for first with, and they lost to both those games, right? And that was obviously a very big disappointment for the players, for their fans. And now it's just kind of about bouncing back, right? They have been handed a couple losses from C9 and Echo Fox, but CLG has not shown to be on the level of those teams. They need to kind of pick themselves back up and show a really strong game here today.
24 seconds here in the first, or I should say last, pick of the first phase for Chronologic Gaming. Waiting on 16 seconds, we see the top. They take Gnar away, get something carryable for Darshan. Huhi gets one of the picks where he can pretty much put that wow factor into the game, and they'll get Stixxay a safe pick on Ezreal. Yeah,
so CLG is going to keep parity in the picks so far. Will Impact actually go to the Camile? This is something I've not seen him play a ton of, but he obviously has the confidence to do it. This is actually something that Darshan has shown quite a lot. When you think back to last week, to their loss actually to Optic, this is a matchup that Darshan picked into Zig. He got heavily snowballed. He got a ton of help from his team, but was never able to actually convert anything off of that. Wasn't really able to punish Zig in that matchup and start taking turrets, start getting solo kills. So we'll see how Impact is going to do in this one. And while it is, you know, kind of favored towards the Camile, it's one that you have to play aggressively, which can backfire very, very quickly if you try to go in and the other jungler is there. And if you play it passively, then the Gnar is going to push you in. The Gnar is going to be the one poking you out and starting to get advantage. So you have to play aggressive. You have to show the confidence here. But we also do need to remember that this can be flexed to jungle. So they may be trying to kind of bait them out a little bit here. And we'll see if CLG kind of gives any inclination on if they think it is jungle or top, because sometimes you'll see in the second round of ban, someone still throw, you know, that top lane ban or still throw a jungle ban, showing that they think it might be flexed.
It'll be such an interesting pick for Xmithie as well if it went to the jungle. Kind of a new style for him.
Yeah, I mean, people definitely think of Xmithie as more the kind of tank jungler, but at the same time, you know, he was playing a lot of Ezreal jungle during around Worlds. He was a guy who would, you know, at MSI had the famous Kindred play, you know, playing range junglers, playing some of the more aggressive junglers too. So definitely is someone who has that flexibility. And, you know, really, Camile could go top or jungle, Galio could go top or mid. So there's a lot of power in having these flex picks because it makes it so much more difficult to actually ban and prepare for coming into the second phase.
So we get the jungle support pinch here from Team Liquid in phase 2, and the same thing from Chronologic Gaming. They feel that Camile is going where they expect, towards the top side. So the alistar comes in for Team Liquid. They get a little more initiation, a little more ability to keep somebody in the same spot, so Pobelter can enter the party in big style. What are they going to have for CLG as Stixxay gets his tried and true hover?
Yeah, very quick picks, honestly, for TL. They're not really delaying much time at all. It seems like they're quickly locking it in, moving on to the next pick. And it's a good call out. The combination of the alistar with that Galio is very, very powerful initiation, especially when you're looking at someone like Zoe, who, if they do get caught up in that CC, you could be going down in a hurry. That can be very, very dangerous. But there's quite a bit of mobility on a lot of the other champions here. When you're looking at an Ezreal or a Gnar, those can be a lot more slippery. So, you know, it's going to be on Olleh to actually find the correct targets, know when to pull the trigger, because if you go in and you're only catching a Braum or like a Zac or something with that initiation, it's not going to be anywhere close to as effective.
Holy threats if they throw in this Jackson, this composition here from Team Liquid. They could be quite aggressive. Also look for CLG to get some of these long-range initiations coming in from what happened from Reignover, and Jax gets locked in for Xmithie.
Yeah, expecting that to be the jungle Jax, Camile top. And it'll be interesting to see how they want to play this out. I mean, both Camile and Jax can be so effective in the side lanes in later stages of the games. You have a Galio who can actually get out to the side lanes and help to snowball, right? And help to kind of give an advantage there to Impact. So definitely look for TL to be trying to get to the side lanes, to be trying to send this Alistar top, send the Galio top, send the Jax top, trying to put Darshan behind, and really honestly kind of playing to the win conditions that Jat laid out on the desk, you know, talking about getting Impact ahead, getting that confidence boost for your team, and especially in this matchup, it's going to be that much more important.
And we'll have to see really at the turn of the middle of the season here, of the round robin, how good do these teams come out of an 0-2 week? Both coming off an 0-2, like you said. Liquid had the top of the list in Cloud9 and Echo Fox. Optic and TSM for Counterlogic Gaming, and now they have to face each other to try to start that win run off again. Hashtag CLG and hashtag TL win. We'll have to see who can get the better of this early game. Counterlogic Gaming's been struggling there. And if Team Liquid can get it with this kind of composition, they will continue to roll through. But I guess that goes for both sides. You have a lot of explosive damage here from both teams.
Definitely so, and it can often be about that mental battle, right? When you do come off an 0-2 week, you have to be able to bounce back. You have to be able to shake off those losses and come through with confidence in your game plan.
We're about to be onto the Rift. Week 5 of day 1, game 1. Here we are, Counterlogic Gaming versus Team Liquid. The Zoe gets through for Huhi here. He's been switching it up from the Aurelion Soul, the Fiora, the Zillion, the Ryze, the Jace. Probably most variety we've seen from the mid laners, and that's the name of the game for him. We'll see if he can put some impact plays on this Zoe.
He's been incredibly flexible, and it's kind of funny thinking about how many different champions he's played when I think back to 2016 before MSI. You know, he was kind of getting criticism still in those days for sometimes going for these explosive plays and flubbing them. And in his opinion, his problem was not that he could not play enough champions. It was that he was playing too many champions. He was focusing on too many different things, and therefore lacking that focus where you spam, you know, hundreds and hundreds of games on that one champion and really master it. And seeing him go back towards that, where he is mixing it up all the time, kind of makes you wonder a little bit, you know, is there any kind of lack of confidence there? Do they feel like they have to stretch for some different picks and constantly change it up?
How much did they get out of it of kind of making teams want to ban things? Here, Team Liquid didn't seem to care too much about the Aurelion Soul and picks as like.
Yeah, definitely not. And I'm going to be very interested to track the early stages of the game for CLG, because that has been such a strength for them, in my opinion. Ziggs, his pre-planning for these games is always very, very impressive. The jungle pathing from Reignover early on is usually very good here as well. They are going to get some information on the side of TL, though. Impact goes in, wards the blue buff, so even if you do not see the Zac at that buff, that is giving you information. That is telling you where he is not. You can then infer where he may be and try to play around that, because so much of CLG is going to be about controlling vision, finding the initiations and the poke and, you know, the sleepy bubble trouble and this sort of thing out of vision, right? Because if your opponents can always see it coming, they're going to dodge it. But if you have a Zac flying over a wall that you do not have warded, if you have Zoe poking from the Raptor pit that you're not seeing, these are things that are going to work so heavily in their favor. And vision control is really the name of the game in those types of situations.
I love it. The double. Smack them together. Or at the forehead. Reignover gets himself moving on the Braum already.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's the speed leash, right? You take the W, you take the Q, both AoE abilities, and you can do that kind of power leash there for yourself, clearing both out. He finishes up both those camps. Remember, that was all on a ward there for Impact, so they have full awareness of where he's going to be, knowing he's going to be heading back to the Wolves. Xmithie getting more coverage for Impact on the top side here, has a ward in the river, going to take down the Scuttle. This is going to give a lot more protection because, again, in the Camile versus Gnar matchup, to win the matchup, you have to play aggressively. You have to be hookshotting forward towards your opponent. You have to be looking for those sorts of trades because you're a melee champion against a range champion. If you just sit back, you will get poked out. And you need to be able to have vision and awareness of where the enemy team is to be able to have the confidence to go forward.
And he kind of has that kind of build to do it early game. Some biscuits so he can get in there and take a few boomerangs. Comet to deliver that damage you expect from Camile. Sometimes a few things. We see the Klepto Camile, but not as much.
Yeah, and even lately I've been seeing some more actually Aftershock Camile on ladder, and more of kind of these squishy champions are taking Aftershock because it gives so many flat resistances that they're feeling, hey, if you can actually hit that hook shot, well, now I'm super tanky. It's hard for you to trade back, but there's also a lot of risk there because if you miss the hook shot, you essentially have no keystone, right? Like, you're getting nothing out of it.
Oh, nice
Trade.
tactical sweep. Damage trade off the wall as Impact gains a bit of control in the lane, knowing he had minion presence. Darshan should be able to farm this up right under the turret, pruning it nicely before it even gets there. Another ward placed topside for Huhi, as he saw where the scuttle went down. And a teleport will be used by Pobelter as he comes back to mid. Unsealed to double, yes, for both of those in mid.
Yeah, can use the early TP. So much of it is just about the lane pressure, is about wave clear. Being able to be the first person to move to a fight to support your jungler in these sorts of plays is so incredibly important these days in mid lane. And just going back, getting an early Darksteel, get the boots, allow you to kind of move more quickly to those side lanes. And you can see that it's actually the minion dematerializer here for Pobelter. And he's already used quite a few of those charges.
Yeah.
Just trying to be able to push in the waves and get more preferential base timing. That can be pretty big here.
Huhi as well, slicing through one of those for himself. Just cleaning up before he hits the turret. Xmithie, Reignover, gonna hop over. Looks like he's just getting a little bit of vision, make sure bot lane is safe from any danger. Reignover shows top side. This is good for Xmithie if he wants to get anything going, but bot lane has equaled out, so no ganks there. Free farming for now, and not too much pressure here to start things off from any jungler.
Yeah, and again, it's just the effort to try to get vision on where the Zac could be, right? He walked over the Scuttle Crab there, so he wasn't thinking he was doing anything sneaky. He's willing to give up his position to keep his bot lane safe in their position. So he really doesn't want the Zac to be able to fly in because Braum has such powerful gank assist for the champions like Zac. I mean, if you can hit them with your Braum passive and actually proc that stun very easily when Zac comes in, there's so much CC that's going to be layered there. Very likely to be able to get a kill.
There's a disparity on that top side. 30 seconds until we have our stopwatch coming up. Impact's going to have one. Darshan won't, but same for Doublelift. He won't have one if they decide to go bot against Stixxay and Biofrost. So could see some fast plays coming in, or everybody getting a little more edge, if you will. Good smite down, gets himself a little bit of health. And it looks like Xmithie still wants it. They're going to get the hero's entrance in, but it's a little too late as it was a bit undecided to start things off.
Yeah, that looked like a classic case of kind of miscommunication, honestly. Xmithie started running away, then the Galio ultimate started coming in, so that seems like they were on a different page, to be honest. Either way, he still actually steals away that camp and gets a little bit of an advantage, but it does cost the first Galio ultimate, which is, you know, a pretty hefty price to pay because that's almost a 3-minute cooldown. You know, there's not, it's like, he's not sitting at 40% CDR. He's not at, you know, multiple ranks into the ultimate. So that early cooldown is very, very long and definitely not the kind of thing you want to be having happen in the early stages of a game like this.
This lane finally flowing back in favor of Darshan for a wave or two. He hasn't really been able to punish Impact too much. They're playing pretty even, all things considered. A few wards going in to just keep themselves safe on the top side. Impact waiting for those wards, so he'll just keep safe and the back side of the lane. Ocean Drake first. Probably not going to draw too much attention here, but I am trying to pay attention to see if Team Liquid will start to get a few more deeper wards and track where Reignover is going and make sure he can't get too many good elastic slingshots out of the fog.
Yeah, definitely so. And that ward over the Dragon Pit is trying to do that. And you can see CLG likewise knows that that is going to be TL game plan. And that's why they have 2 defensive pinks in their jungle.
Right.
To try to make it so that you actually can't spot Reignover in his jungle. You can't know when and where he's going to be coming from, which is going to make his ganks so much more powerful. And that's kind of one of the things you're really fighting against in competitive play. Oftentimes, I see people asking, why aren't the junglers even trying to gank? Why aren't they being more proactive in pro play? And a lot of times, it's simply because there's so much vision on the map. The teams are utilizing their trigger wards so well. It's almost always Tracker's Knife that they're spotted on the camps before they even have a chance to attempt that gank. So at that point, if you've been spotted, if you know there's going to be wards out in that area, it doesn't even make sense to waste the time unless you're trying to set up some sort of a counter gank or some sort of additional play.
Already trying to take control of that vision again to say, hey, maybe we take a dragon by ourselves. Xmithie in, Xmithie out, see if he draws any pressure as he draws that one. A little bit of a hover by Olleh as he starts to get himself into river to make sure things are safe.
And at level 6, with that passive, you're going to be able to do pretty good work on that dragon, but bot lane is coming up, mid lane is coming over, and they will be able to get this first dragon. And while it is not an Infernal, it is not a mount, which are traditionally the ones that people are kind of more excited to see.
The water's fine.
An 8-minute Ocean Dragon is very, very good. Like, having that during your laning phase can make mana regen somewhat trivial, allows you to spam out your spells more aggressively. If you're getting poked out, you know, in one of these kind of pokey type matchups, like, you know, a Galio versus a Zoe, for example, well, if you step back and get out of combat, you can regen some of that health back up, and it can end up being quite effective.
Using that big wave clear from Galio to put all the pressure down the bot side. Liquid pushed as well, so a few things on their plate in the early game, but nobody's kind of stretching themselves thin to get anything done just yet.
Yeah, definitely not. You know, both teams obviously having confidence in their later game play and feeling like they're going to be able to execute on their comms better. I'd also say so far, so good for CLG on the top side. You can see how defensively Darshan is building. Rushes tabbies and picks up a couple ruby crystals here. This is because he does not need to be the one to win this lane. Winning this lane is basically just playing equal because it's the Camile that has more trouble when on even terms contributing to a team fight, right? Camile has to be in a side lane, winning 1v1s, taking turrets, applying pressure. Because, quite put, unless you're way ahead, it's really hard when you get into a 5v5 situation. Just jump into the back line and try to take someone out. Usually cannot actually happen. You'll get peeled off, you'll get stunned up, you're too squishy, you die too quickly. So, Darshan is definitely going to be very happy with his position in this lane so far. And partially he can play that lane more confidently because of the fact that Pobelter used his ultimate at that Raptor pit. It means that there wasn't going to be that threat of that Galio roam, and that's something that you always have to think of. You know, you have to think of what were the next steps? What really else was affected on the map by this flood play?
And the next steps, top laners, about 20 seconds left on TPs to come up, as they've been farming pretty safe back and forth. The teleport would give up one of those leads. As they start to sweep down towards the bottom side of the map. Reignover is found, so that may cause top laners to go a little bit harder for a moment here, but we could get a scuffle on the bot side. All these stopwatches up. Make people get a little antsy here and start a fight. Olleh starts to move in, knows they have pressure towards the top, and they might catch Huhi. No, but Xmithie catches a quick taste of the damage that Huhi has right now. Quick in, quick out, gets him out from under the turret. Nice job by Darshan to take a bit of lane control. Distances himself with flash, though. And be careful of that later if Xmithie makes himself present in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good initial trade, but the fact that Gnar is expiring there means you're so susceptible to the subsequent all-in that could come out, and yeah, great, you chunked a little bit of his HP. It cost you your flash, right? That's certainly not worthwhile. It does feel good, but sometimes it's not worth it, man. Sometimes in these matchups, you just have to accept that, nope, I don't ever get to be aggressive. Nope, I don't ever get to go for those kills. I have to sit back, I have to play patiently, and I have to let my team win elsewhere on the map.
Yep.
And really, that's kind of the position that he's going to be in this game. I mean, TL is putting so much emphasis on I feel, shutting down Reignover in these early stages because Reignover has had great early games. Like, there's just nonstop invade, ward up all the camps. How is he ever supposed to gank somewhere on the bot side of the map when every camp is warded, when they continually move in, clear out those pink wards, continually re-ward, right? There's nowhere really for him to go or anything for him to do on that bottom side of the map besides farm, and that's why we are getting this very passive early game.
Well, tabs have been kept on TL warding, and they are keeping it up. We'll continue to watch that as well. Just 12 minutes in, as Zombie Wars as well is playing a huge role to this. The fact that Xmithie just goes in and out, is leaving one when he's destroying one. That vision score through the roof, man. Doublelift backing, 132 to 113 for CS in the bot lane. So the bit of disruption that bot lane has seen as well through everything in the jungle, pulling Stixxay away from the wave at the turret, cost him a little bit, but not terrible.
Certainly the case, but now is going to be such a strong point in the game for TL. You got your Varus to a 12-minute Rage Blade, and that is such a strong one-item power point. There's very, very few AD carries in the game that can actually match up with the Varus on one item, because once you have the Rage Blade, your dueling potential is so strong, your actual team fight power is incredibly strong, and if that guy has it actually fully stacked, this could be an all-in. Remember, Darshan has no flash.
He did use it in his last engage just under the turret. That's definitely a lane win for Impact. Gets very low towards health, but I think the hit back in without a Gnar would definitely give him the upper hand. Gold is exactly even here as we hit the 13-minute mark and a jockey for the Rift Herald.
It's still not leashed. Now it's going to actually leash, and the supports were roaming up. You can see Olleh was all the way up there, so that's actually a lot of wasted time for Xmithie because he was on that Rift Herald for quite a long time, trying to work away on that, but CLG is able to shut it down, and Impact was pressuring the top side, so Darshan would not have been able to respond, but Reignover shows up, Huhi can roam, so there still are those additional threats, and Reignover thinking he's being pretty sneaky. Again, this is warded out. It's so hard for him to actually pull off these ganks. Oh. Swing and a miss.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm doing it whether or not. I hope I'm in the mind of my opponent, but really Impact was eyes on the entire play, and he knew what was going down.
Definitely so, and having that forewarning. It's going to give you a pretty big advantage. So that should kind of make Reignover assume that there's probably some wards over there, but he doesn't know for sure, and it's so hard to know exactly where all the camps are warded. There's just wards everywhere, but really it's TL's bot lane that is the beneficiary here. CLG knows you cannot actually fight this 2v2 at all now that Doublelift already has his Rage Blade, and you are not on any real major power points here as the Ezreal, so you're just going to have to sit back. You're going to have to actually give up a lot more. And it's not just the CS advantage now. It's the turret as well. And now that means you have bot pressure on an Infernal Dragon that's spawning. So this timing is so good for TL because they are willing to take a fight if CLG is going to opt into it, since they know their AD carry is just at this super, super strong point.
It's the exact way that TL wants to play this, and Doublelift wants to be fed. He has the most gold in the game right now with that first turret going down 160 CS, just 10 behind. Huhi that's still farming. They grab another Drake. They have that guy that wants to be fed, pretty fed. And we've been kind of watching Impact here as one of those players to watch this week, and we'll see if he can still perform from the top lane. So TL after a great start here around the map, but still no kills yet.
Yeah, no kills, but honestly a pretty immaculate early game from TL. I mean, they're the ones who get first turret. They have an Ocean and an Infernal. They have tracked Reignover relentlessly across the map. The only real blemish you could say is, oh, well, Camile's not smashing topside, but it's not like he's in a bad situation either. He has his Triforce completed. There's still going to be opportunities for him to gain advantages later on. And they're the ones who I think are going to be much more happy in this situation, especially if they can keep it up. Because it's great, you've tracked where the Zac has gone for 15 minutes, but you have to continue that throughout the entire game, right? Because as much as you want to kind of sit back and say, oh yeah, we did it, we stopped Zac from doing any ganks, I mean, if he gets that one really good initiation off that can turn a team fight, that can flip the game on its head, especially post 20 minutes.
We're back to the Rift Herald.
Try again.
No rest for Shelly. Xmithie picks that up. They'll have whatever lane they want to use it in. Doublelift and Olleh getting the best of Stixxay and Biofrost, his old teammate there, as they come out with the win on the bot side and one turret up.
Now that they have the Rift Herald, I would really love to see them use the Galio ultimate again, and you try to make a play on the map, you know, 3-4-man play, like send Olleh up to the top side, use him with the Jax, and the Galio ultimate come down. Even if you do not kill Darshan, if you can push him off the turret, you can drop the Rift Herald and to secure some more global gold for yourself. Impact backing way off, seeing Zac on the top side, and that again is going to kind of tip Reignover to know that there are some more wards on the deep side of the jungle. But as soon as he shows on the top side, look at this. TL relentless, moving forward, clearing vision out on the bot side, trying to get some forward vision of their own to try to be able to track once he now moves down to the bot side, because they know that's where Zac will head next.
I feel like we could coin this next fight if they do get that pressure. If they finally get Reignover some Fog of War to initiate from the stopwatch fight, everybody's ready to use that, and I think it will happen on this next one.
That's true, man.
For prep for CLG, Darshan and Gnar form wouldn't really need one. So TL can use it. Who uses it first kind of situation? Would be the bad result. Two Drakes on that side for TL as they're just waiting for the next Ocean.
There's definitely a lot of playmaking potential with those early stopwatches, and when people are hitting like their rank 2 ultimates and these sorts of things, all summoners are available. When you do get that fight, it can be extremely explosive, and they've just kind of swapped bots atop, so they're going to continue just trying to extend their advantages this way. They know Doublelift is going to be very, very strong right now. Just continue moving around the map, trying to pressure out those turrets, and Olleh going to have to back off here. Galio is in range.
Ooh.
Don't think that CLG is going to be able to continue the chase.
Not my shrine, but I still know how to move inside it. Xmithie, Olleh going back just to tempt danger, knowing they have power in numbers in a certain situation. A slow push for Impact so we can get some pressure on the bot side. We'll see how much they can toy with CLG here.
Yeah, stopping Darshan's base again. They're really trying to harass him, and we might actually see Varus go back in again. It stops him. This is actually getting pretty detrimental, because this actually means now Darshan will not be to the bottom turret in time for that wave. Right. So this wave that has been stacking this whole time, he's going to lose a lot of that experience. He's going to lose a lot of that gold. And it also allows Impact to actually be the first one to roam upwards and be able to even threaten some of the other lanes. So this is actually giving them quite a bit of map pressure. Now that Darshan's down on the bot side, they could start to play elsewhere and try to force out his TP here. Remember, they still have that Rift Herald, and this is really giving them the tempo advantage. So now they're going to drop it knowing that they have 5-man mid. And Darshan's not there.
Perfect wards up through Darshan as well, so he's going to be fought as he makes his way over. Rift Herald hits turret. They want the fight, though. Going right in. They try to get the team drowsy. Pobelter very low. One last turret. Heated up. It hits Doublelift as he puts himself in front of the shot. And they will be able to grab the turret. Rift Herald goes down, and they scatter CLG once more, but TL have to leave as well as they go low.
Yeah, Pobelter definitely low. He's going to have to go back to base, but the rest of them can stay out on the map, and Shelly, with her dying breath, knocks down the second turret there. So more gold in the pockets here of TL. And that was really just created, honestly, off of stopping those bases over and over from Darshan. It gets you the map priority. And while it doesn't always turn into something, TL has been very well timed with their plays, and that is why they are actually able to get something from this. It's like, great, your Varus has a Rage Blade. Well, it doesn't matter if we can't actually set up and organize and create these plays around that, but they get the first turret. They immediately start the Infernal on the spawn of that. So, you know, these sorts of plays that they're doing, it really speaks a lot to how well they're playing around tempo and how well they're playing around their advantages when they do see them.
And it becomes ridiculously hard now for these guys to even get the clears out, because what made that possible? More wards, seeing Darshan backing that vision that TL continuously places and has been relentless with. Now power as a number, they're going to move in, Doublelift to clean up, and the other two are going to move into place deeper wards and encroach into the jungle.
Definitely so. And while TL, I do think, has been playing a fantastic game, we have to also kind of rein in expectations as far as, you know, this is not an enormous lead, right? It's just under 2,000 gold.
Yeah.
Yes, the Dragons are certainly an advantage, but Infernal is more of an advantage later in the game than it is right now. It definitely gets bigger later on, and we'll see if they can find the fight, because CLG, they do need to be somewhat proactive, I think, and they do need to be the ones who kind of do find some of these fights. But if they can, they're not that behind, right? You win one fight, you're maybe in the lead, because if they can win a fight, get a couple turrets, that gold lead is completely gone. And with Baron on the map now, that is always going to be a threat. But TL just doing such a good job with the vision. They're wanting to play this war of attrition.
We say it shut down Reignover, but it also shuts down the trouble bubble coming flying through the terrain and trying to start one of these kills that would zero out Doublelift, even probably put Xmithie down to 25% HP.
Completely so. And you're also shutting down TP opportunities for Darshan, right? If those deep wards are always getting eliminated, if you're the ones always approaching your opponent's territory, you know you're more safe from that sort of play there too. So there's a lot of options that they are shutting down and kind of limiting from their opponents.
See if CLG can find them. They have been straining here to keep that vision forward. Now finally out of their own side of the jungle for a moment's time. They just had a bit of a push on mid-turret that was staved off nicely by TL, but now CLG has their footing again, and we'll try once more. Maybe top side to Doublelift. A turret would be great at this point. Probably get a few item spikes for them and a nice chunk of gold that they require here.
Yeah, Doublelift sitting on over 2,000 gold, so he wants to be pretty careful right now, wants to go back to base and actually complete his items before he risks taking any fight. So he's going to push out the wave, he's going to base, buy his items, and now that he has spent up all his gold, he knows he's again at an advantage over his opponent, and then he will be more confident to actually opt into those more aggressive pushes and take that fight, right? And that is kind of what it is all about. As soon as you know you're stronger, find the windows of opportunity, force your opponents into fights by threatening neutral objectives and by controlling the map and controlling vision in these sorts of plays.
It's scary the stress of one of these kind of late game zero kills puts on as well, because it makes it, whoever wins it becomes so incredibly explosive and strong after that fight, because you have so much time on the map to roam around. It's not a 10-second death timer like it'd be early game. It's a long time with a team that has a lot of damage on structures. Yeah,
definitely the case. I mean, it's not very often that first blood leaves to Baron, but when you're 22, 23 minutes into the game, if that is an explosive fight and one team wins decisively, not only do you get that massive gold swing, you can go straight to Baron. You can knock down multiple turrets, because as you say, these champions are so much more powered up than you would normally be around that first blood time, and that means that there's going to be more structures falling, more neutral objectives taken when it finally happens, and that can sometimes honestly just make the teams play more passive. It can make them be a little bit more wary because they're looking for that perfect fight, and no one really wants to give it to the other team.
You get pushed into those positions where you're not used to calling strats from, or you're trying to find one pick, but nobody wants to make the wrong move. Kind of hard too when you know where each person on the opposing team is, as is the case here for Team Liquid. Slowly moving in and out of the jungle. What Counterlogic Gaming has been doing a great job of taking that vision back here. Reignover protecting the pink wards, But the fight continues, because that pink ward does not last long.
I will say I'm somewhat surprised to see Pobelter using his ultimate so infrequently, but it may simply be a case that they say, hey, it's actually more
pressure.
Beneficial to keep it and allow Xmithie and Olleh to aggressively clear vision than it is to expend it on a side lane to try to look for a kill. Because if you do, use that ultimate out on a side lane on impact to try to go for that kill on Darshan, yes, you may be rewarded and you may be able to get that, but what they are guaranteed getting this way is CLG always knows Pobelter will be first to a fight if they fight in the jungle because of that ultimate, right? And that allows them to non-stop move up, place vision, harass their opponents, but as I say it, they're going down to the bottom side of the map.
Oh, no first blood. Sweeps him back under the rug. Do not want damage either. Gets himself to safety. Where will they go? All right, are they going to fight here? Because I want to play perfect fight game. All right, what's the perfect fight game, Isaac? What are we looking for? CLG's perfect fight here to get an initiation.
I mean, the perfect fight is all 5 members clumped up into a Zach-E elastic slingshot pulled in, right?
You're just going there. Okay, okay.
But I mean, really, it's about the wombo. It's about the perfect initiation. You're not going to get that, but your main target has to be Doublelift, right? If you can actually hit Doublelift with that Zach-E, get on top of him, pull him into the Braum ultimate, pull him into the Gnar ultimate, these sorts of combos, he will not necessarily be able to have any time to actually get out and survive that, right? He doesn't have a Braum to block that. He does have counter initiation in the Galio wall, but really, that's who you're looking to get more than anyone else. And, barring that, it's trying to kind of disengage back and focus the more squishy members of the front line, right? So if Impact is diving in, you want to disengage the back line, have Biofrost, with his Unbreakable, blocking the damage coming in from Doublelift, while you focus down the Camile in the front line.
Woo. So much easier said than done.
Of course, there's and I mean, that's looking at it from just one side, right? And of course, TL is trying to stop you from being able to do that. They're trying to, manipulate the fight to their own advantage, and that's why team fighting at the highest level is so hard, and it's honestly why the best teams in the world can be so consistent, because there's so many variables, and they're just doing them better than you every single time.
Well, there's no question that all summoners are up, as they have hardly been used this game. Maybe teleports, I think, maybe not even a cleanse.
No stopwatch on Zach, though.
No stopwatch
there you
on
go.
Zach. We did have an active use. Zanya's finished through Huhi. No stopwatch now for a Stixxay as well either. A few hits here to an unbreakable Biofrost. Concussive blows. Just telling Xmithie to chill as he gets out safely. They go back and forth. Usually you see the fight over a ward, but that's not even happening. They're giving so much space.
Yeah, we may actually see a fight have to be forced here by CLG if Darshan does not base soon.
1-2, they know Xmithie took a hit, but that's going to be very hurting Reignover in quickly. Xmithie going to get himself to safety as Pobelter enters, but Olleh could have got himself into trouble. He goes drowsy, he goes down, first blood to Huhi, as CLG has been waiting.
They have been waiting and waiting to find their moment. They got to go to the Baron now because Impact is not roaming up. They need to force Impact's TP. You do that by starting the Baron. The Galio ultimate is down. Olleh is dead. This could be that first blood in the Baron we were talking about. Here comes the TP from Impact.
Latest first blood, but who gets this first Baron? That's going to be Xmithie going down. It's not a 50-50. Impact goes right onto Huhi and zeroes him out. The damage is alive, but Impact is drowsy, has to wake himself up, shakes it off, and gets back into the fight. But they know they've stopped Baron. That's all they've wanted.
Yeah, CLG is low as well, so they can't actually re-engage on that fight. So Doublelift goes back to mid lane. He's going to be pushing in that wave. Bot lane is crashing from Impact there. So CLG finds a couple kills, but they do lose some minion wave control. I think the biggest advantage there is that they've actually gotten Impact's TP. You get that out of him. Now he can not just split push blindly down a side lane. He has to be grouping. He has to be cognizant of the fact that they could actually go straight to that Baron again.
The separation and kills. Pobelter did not grab one, but he's still huge. He's still Galio, and he's not that super tank Galio. He is, I am going to burst you down in a combo almost by myself, Galio. Still has that damage. Huhi did pick up a kill, however. So 3-2 here. Doublelift scoops up a 4th Drake of the game as we rewatch this fight. CLG says it's time to go.
This is prompted by knowing Impact is going back towards the bottom side of the map. So they force the engage. They're trying to get the TP out. They do not, but they catch out Olleh. He's off to the side, not able to get his flash out. He gets burst down. Now, CLG sees, okay, Impact is not roaming up. We need to do something about this. If they just try to base, they will be delayed by Pobelter. They will start losing turrets, and instead they force, they get the TP out, and they do win the eventual fight 3-2.
Now, flashes all over the place are down. Doublelift can play pretty scary with Olleh as theirs are up.
Exactly, and that is a key one, right? As I said, what is the ideal initiation target? It's on Doublelift. He has both his summoners and still his QSS available with that Mercurial Scimitar. So that is so important that the key member for TL still has those. And oh my god!
Oh, the spoopy damage. That is huge.
Oh, he's going to get run down. Darshan's on him.
A few hits. Looking for the hyper next. He's going to go Hextech Ultimatum. Chain of Corruption. Remember, Doublelift can get into a scary spot here with the flash up. They get the Glacial Fissure down on him, stops him back, but nobody's focusing the bot lane right now. Reignover tries to get in, bounce him around, and now TL can set back up. Doublelift untouched, pushes CLG back in that fight.
Yeah, explosive fight there. They did get the flash from Doublelift, though. So important to have gotten that out from the TL AD carry, and they're actually TPing straight to Baron. I think CLG wants to try to rush this. Olleh caught again.
Pushed out, but never done. CLG know exactly when they can go back in, looking for Olleh once again. He was the first blood and possibly going down again as they get his ult burned along with another flash. Setting up in the fog of war. This has been something they have been craving all game. And they finally got it. They finally got that fog of war, and it's going to start setting them up some plays.
Nice ward hop. TL is trying to take the safe approach, push out the minion waves to try to get control of mid lane and force them to respond. You see Pobelter is still down on the bot side of the map. He is still looking to pressure this. This puts the onus on CLG. They need to start up the Baron. They need to do something to get him to respond, or you're going to bleed out objectives. And right now, there's a lot of split decisions. There's hesitation. Darshan's moving down, but he may be cut off here by impact. And Galio ultimate not up, but they're just going to take the turn for free.
Patience is a virtue. He goes on him early. Who's going to get the red buff? That goes actually to Impact. He has the chase power. He has a bit of damage. Wallop misses with the Hextech Ultimatum. Scoops him up against the wall, however. Impact peels himself off the wall. Back into the fight as Hero's entrance comes in just a little late. But Huhi does not. Another kill for him. Now they're on to Pobelter. Winter's Bite locks him down. And Olleh, just watching on the side, wants to help the other members of TL. Going to Baron. They have coverage of vision.
They can actually two-man this. This will go down very quickly. Doublelift is extremely strong, and Jax is putting out a lot of damage, but CLG is rushing up to the top side. They're trying to get there in time.
1,000 health. It's going to be enough. They got to get out. If they see him, though, Reignover might want to take the fight. They found Olleh in mid as he tries to deter two members in. That's going to be Doublelift. Remember, the flash is down. His heal is up. Winter's Bite connects, and Concussive Blows is next. He gets abducted back into the dry brush. That's going to be the hit. Those are going to be the final touches. No, he stays alive as he tries to get the hits in. Stixxay finally gets himself to the fight, but there's no mana there. As Huhi, with the blue buff, could finally finish the fight. Darshan still wants in. A relentless CLG will not stop. As the turret still stands, they have 0 minions, and Darshan still wants to fight. A stopwatch on Pobelter. Finally, a few final touches. And they seal the deal after a very long fight.
Yeah, the Baron goes to TL, but they lose almost all of those Baron buffs. Just Xmithie will have that remaining. CLG is the one coming out ahead in the fight, getting so many more kills, and so much of that came down to the interactions around the CLG red buff. It was actually Darshan who gets the red buff. Pobelter does not have his ultimate up for that fight until the very end.
Absolutely insane. Let's see it again.
Yeah, and here it is again. After Impact has already been taken down in that initial fight, Olleh getting bursted down by Huhi, who is really on point with his picks in this fight. And you can see Reignover holding his ultimate, slowing Doublelift, delaying as long as he can, pulls him right back into that Braum ultimate. Those are the sorts of combos you want to see pulled off. And Pobelter getting in just barely could not actually turn that around and keep Doublelift alive, because if Doublelift lives a couple more seconds, the amount of damage he can put out could have potentially swung that fight.
Who has the coverage here? Hasn't really been cleaned up on the top side by CLG. The wards really aren't useful around Baron at this point. They will be replaced as everybody takes a breather, gets himself back on the map to figure out where to go.
It's like a zombie army starting in the Baron pit right now. There are 6 zombie wards over there. I don't know.
This is great vision scoring. Gold.
This is the start of a movie.
Look out.
We gotta get out of there.
Leg ward. Pobelter back to bottom. Teleports are down, but he has Hero's entrance to still get in. His Impact takes the top side. It feels like they say, hey, we want the 1-3-1 as much as we can in safety. Ward's behind Impact, an interesting spot for that last fight, but it doesn't pose any threat for him right now.
Well, Xmithie here in the middle. He's the only one with that Baron buff, so wherever he is where they're going to have that advantage working for them. But for now, Impact's pushing out on the top side, trying to get that wave pressure working for them here once again. They're going to be playing pretty hesitantly until Doublelift has his flash again, though. And that is up very, very shortly. So that is a big reason why you're going to see them sitting so far back and trying to play it very patiently. They can't afford to have him get picked off right before that comes off.
Everybody trying to get the little bits. Pick him up, throw him around, get a summoner, get an ult. Whatever advantage you can grab. Impact with a great push. Calling respect from Darshan now to the top side of the map. He has a big wave coming in behind him as well. Just pile up nicely. And Xmithie, they're kind of just drawing CLG around now with this Baron, using it well. Able to get something on the top side, but they know they don't have to go any further than that.
Yeah, they really are. They're willing to take what they can get and then back off, and that damage onto Xmithie. They're jumping in.
Gotta be careful that engage range as well. Not many people can follow that for Reignover. But Xmithie gets out. The team as well just kind of flexing their muscles, saying this is our side of the jungle. Mountain Drake again is next. 5 in the favor of TL would be absolutely crazy because they take this and they force what could be Elder later.
Exactly. Even if they don't get this one, 4-1 is an insane advantage for that Elder.
For sure.
They're going to have so much pressure around this objective. They would love to grab this up, though. Reignover is in position, and some nice poke comes out of Huhi will make the teams back off. TL seems pretty intent on just playing this split push style.
Yep.
I'm going to be very interested to see if there's ever a point where they actually just shift Xmithie to a side lane, because he's actually getting quite strong here. He's close to his Stixxay, but he already has the Triforce, and Jax in a side lane, when you're getting to the later stages of games, can be so strong, and having Galio right with the Varus might actually be more powerful as far as having the additional wave clear and the more defensive abilities to keep Varus safe in that 3-man squad.
That's actually a pretty crazy point. You think about it, you know, we have Impact pushing right now, but Jackson going crazy. You know, Pobelter's still going crazy. If teleports are up or down, they have such versatility.
And here it is. They're actually moving him down to the bot side. So this is really what I want to see. 1-3-1 with your Camile and your Jax. Now move your Galio in the later stages of the game towards Doublelift.
Yep.
You have Galio, you have Olleh here on the alistar, and those two members will help add more wave clear, but also, most importantly, keep the Varus safe. And then you have these two people in the side lanes that there's just not two people that can be assigned to match, right? Like, Gnar cannot be in both places at once, and no one else can really, I think, hold those very effectively. Maybe Huhi can go down there and try to just wave clear, but then your 3-man squad is going to lose out in a fight in the lane, so I actually really kind of like that strategy and adaptation if they go for it.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Gnar was kind of like an Annie, but he called in Gnar. You could send him to a side lane.
Yeah.
Be like, Daddy Gnar's coming. Coming to bot lane, don't worry about it. I can stay top. I don't need teleport.
I'm trying to think about when was the last time we really saw split push jungling in the NALCS? And
when
sure
Xmithie played Nasus.
I'm sure there's other examples, like, you know, but the one that's coming to my head is actually, I remember Meteos for Cloud9 playing Nocturne as a full, like,
the full damage
Bloodraiser
at the end
build.
of the season.
Exactly, right? And that was a couple of years ago. I'm sure there's been other examples since then,
true.
but that is the one that's popping in my head, and it's just kind of cool to see Jungle Jax actually doing this split push, because that's actually a champion I love playing, but I don't build tank, and I've been playing this for a couple of years now.
Right.
I always just end up split pushing, right? Because you can just build it into the same sort of style as a top lane Jax, and you can be very greedy in solo queue especially, right? And start taxing lanes. And even in this competitive situation, because the game has gone so long, it's not like Pobelter really needs that much more farm at this stage. Like a 5-item AP Galio versus 6-item, yes, it'd be nice to get the death cap, but the farm going towards your Jax may simply be more effective.
Through picks and bans, Camile was the 3rd pick. It didn't seem like as well CLG was kind of thinking that would have been Xmithie's anyways. They're like, Xmithie's going to get a tank, but he gets that Jax this game.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well. Didn't really give Impact too much towards the top side. Didn't really do too much. Latest first blood in the NALCS means the junglers were kind of hanging out. Impact got one gank from Reignover here, but these guys in the jungle had pretty easy going early game to start things off.
Yeah, certainly so. Much of the game has really just been about tracking, vision, right? And honestly, I was not expecting the Camile to come out of Impact either. He has not played it yet this season, and he is definitely not known for it. I mean,
right, they looked at him with the orange band.
He played Camile twice all last year and 0 times this season.
Oh, Darshan under the turret. Very heroic entrance from Pobelter as they make quick work of the Gnar and this inhibitor turret.
And this might be actually kind of the straw that starts to break the camel's back here, because now the base is broken. Now three-man squad is threatening Baron, and you start to get pulled apart, right? As soon as one part starts to fall apart against the split push, you start losing everywhere on the map. Teal is starting up the Baron. 3 members of CLG are sitting in the base. No way for Reignover to get over here. Will be. Okay, not quite. That was close. Good try.
Very good try.
Not quite Apollo level.
I was going to say, you listen to Apollo video.
Yeah.
I liked it. You should just do it when they're about to smite.
How do you steal so many berries?
Right. Well, you shoot it and it kills the objective, and then you get it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the directions next time. So everybody kind of cresting 400 CS. From mids to bots here. Getting to that 40-minute mark on the game. Let's see how this happened. Oh, brought him back with a hex tech. Feels good. I'm safe under the turret. I'll stay here. Oh, there's Pobelter.
Yeah, it's honestly really not much of an overextension at all by Darshan, but it just shows you the stage of the game that you're in. He actually dodged the hook shot with his jump backwards. All that it was the hex tech ultimatum into that heroic entrance, which is guaranteed by the Camile ult. There's nowhere for you to go. You can't flash out of it, and nothing that Darshan can do in that scenario besides don't put yourself in that scenario. Yeah. You have to then just say, okay, well, if they can kill me like that, I don't get to ever leave my turret. I have to max range clear minions and play it so safe. But that's tough to do because that's his first death in the whole game, right? It's not like it's been happening to him time and time again. And sometimes when you haven't had these fights for a long time, it can be pretty surprising how much damage comes out, how quickly you die.
Just because you lived all game doesn't mean it's okay to end now.
That's a good point, Riz.
Just kidding.
My solo queue teammates tell me that all the time.
Pretty hefty gold lead here for Team Liquid as they start to bear down on that middle turret and this bottom inhibitor. Still down in kills, however, working around the map, working their vision and try to kind of avoid this big burst damage that Huhi and the rest of the team can put out in succession. One of those paddle stars hitting you upside the back of the head. They get out just to prevent a little more damage as mid is taken.
Yep. You send too many members for impact. His job is then to run away. Your job is not to collapse. It's actually to push the other lane. This is how you pull these teams apart. And look at the top minion wave as well here. It's going to be walked over to. Pobelter goes, buffs that up, and now they have waves pushing in on all sides, and they can continue to do this because it gets so difficult to actually clear out the waves. And Pobelter just making sure he's there to buff them up before Huhi can clear out that wave too quickly.
Going over it from the beginning as well, kind of just looking at how TL played it, not allowing CLG to get many of these turrets.
Nice
Pop
Olleh.
up. Very beautiful pulverized. They lock him. I believe Chain of Corruptions didn't do too much there as they followed up with damage. But not having these turrets doesn't give CLG money. Map control for TL means all of their lanes are pushing. That always has to be considered by CLG. They never get to put anything in their favor and always are playing on the back foot. Now losing another inhibitor as TL only have top lane to look at now.
Yeah, and for CLG now, your only hope is finding that engage. But TL have no interest in actually going for it, right? They're just going to continue split pushing.
Well, get some
Continue trying
stragglers.
to avoid it.
Darshan says I might have one. Olleh, level 15, throws down the ultimate. Should be able to stay alive for a bit.
Here.
Impact could find the back line. They're deterring what goes on here in the DPS on the front line. And now they have to focus. They say, well, we could blow that GA and really make the fight in our favor if we can get another consecutive one. There's so many options as they get brought back and forth. The bounce house begins as Doublelift, Pobelter, and Olleh are into the fight. Stixxay getting the damage from Impact as he makes that play for himself. And Darshan is chased towards the top side of the map. Team Liquid look to put the finishing touches on the base.
Yeah, that is going to be that. TL plays a beautiful controlled game here. 5 dragons, 8 kills. They take almost all the turrets, and they are going to be the ones closing out their first half of the split, 6-3.
Beautiful job. 8-7 on the scoreboard at the end. 42 minutes in. Team Liquid take down Logic Gaming.
It's got to be a frustrating game for CLG, honestly. You know, a lot of the fights were going pretty well for them, but TL simply never gave them the fights. They avoid them the whole game. They control vision in the early stages. From the word go, Reignover was having all of his camps sported. TL played a very intelligent style, and they just honestly committed to their game plan. They played it out slowly. They pressured the map. They warded everything, and they just didn't give CLG a lot of ways to win.
Pretty back and forth in the early part of the game without anything going on. The explosive kill went to Huhi. They took down Olleh first, but the Dragon was thwarted quickly after by Doublelift and Impact. The Camile coming back in very fast. And then they kind of were able to hold out the game there. Longest first blood, or I should say latest first blood in the NALCS, so we got that out of this one. Quite nicely done, but once they started fighting, Team Liquid kind of figured, yeah, there's a lot of damage there. We have map control, and what vision they played the entire time.
Yeah.
Team Liquid's vision this was crazy this game.
It really was so strong. And honestly, that's bolstered by the fact that they got all these neutral objectives as far as the dragons, right? They had 5 dragons. That's 2 mountain dragons and an infernal, as well as the double ocean. Makes it so easy to actually go for those Baron attempts, right? When you have someone splitting on the bot side of the map and then you have so much more DPS coming out, plus you have all the regen from the double ocean, there's very little risk to actually starting up the Baron, even in the 2-man situations that we saw Xmithie and Doublelift going for. And they can start it up, they can back off, they know that they can kill it extremely quickly with all that bonus damage. And it also enables the split pushers, right? If you ever let Impact get to a turret, he's already going to knock him down so fast. Now it's even faster.
And that's one of the things we thought coming into this one. We said, like, look at all of these threats on the side of Team Liquid. If these guys get going, you kind of keep rolling down those train tracks and make the win happen. That's where they ended up with that W. And right now we're going to send it over to Olleh and the Team Liquid carry in the bot lane.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Doublelift. Congratulations again on that win. Coming off from a rough weekend last week, 0-2. What was the team hoping to achieve coming into this weekend?
Well, we had a really, really rough week of LCS and a week of scrims. Thank you. And I think we're just, I guess, hoping to achieve, we just hope to achieve like some progress, getting a little bit better. I don't really know if we really showed that this game personally. Like I didn't feel super good. Obviously like a 0-0-0 game is fine. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, I felt like we were in control early game, and then we sort of fell apart for like 10 or 15 minutes. I was a little bit lost in the game because it just felt like we weren't playing to our win condition well enough. And yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out and piece it together in the review.
Now, Liquid is no longer in the top of the standings, fighting to kind of hold on to that first place, but rather now you guys are trying to rack up those wins in preparation for playoff. Does that affect your mentality at all?
You know, I don't really ever think about our regular season standings, actually. I don't think I've thought about it for the last like 2 years. So I think we're 6-3 now, so that's nice. But as long as we make playoffs, which I've never failed to do recently, it should be fine. I'm mostly concerned about like when we make playoffs, did we improve enough in the regular season to like make it to the finals? Did we improve enough to win? Or are we just going to be, just like a stepping stone?
Well, with this game, you have completed the first section of the first round robin. Going into the next half of the split, are there any teams that you're looking out for or excited to play against again?
Not really. If I think about Echo Fox and Cloud9, I felt like we should have won against Echo Fox really easily, but we threw. So that was not a game that I really thought about too much. The Cloud9 game I was thinking about for like hours. That team is super strong. And then we lost 100 Thieves. I think they're falling apart as well. So I'm pretty much looking out for TSM and C9 only.
Well, congratulations again on your victory.